Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. Reportedly, New York and California lost a lot of tax income. In fact, New York and California experienced the largest loss of tax income from migration of any states in the country because people are leaving liberal areas. My friends, people want freedom. And the more the government imposes tax, the less freedom people will have. There is an inverse relationship between taxation and freedom. Americans want freedom, which means they want less taxation. It seems to me that government tries to assume some kind of lack of mobility in the population. Government in places like New York and California, they seem to believe that no matter how much they tax people, the residents are not gonna leave. Liberal politicians in places like New York and California believe that people will simply accept high taxes and they'll just keep paying these taxes. Now, historically, New York and California have been high-profile states. There's no doubt about that. When people think of New York, they think about Manhattan. They think about all the glamorous tall buildings and the skyscrapers and the beautiful Hudson River and Times Square. And of course, people think about the diversity of residents. People appreciate diversity. And let's talk about movies and TV shows. In movies and TV shows, many stories are set in New York and in California. And among immigrants, New York happens to be a very desirable destination. Same thing for California. California also happens to be a very desirable destination among immigrants. And still, many immigrants, when they enter the United States, they either want to be in New York or they want to be in a place like California. And I get that. But at some point, as government keeps taxing people, residents end up deciding that there are better places to live, better places with less taxation compared to New York and California. When people start losing money year after year, people realize that they need to find a state where taxation is low. And also, residents of New York are seeing where their tax dollars are going. For example, in recent years, the government has been spending a lot of money, a lot of taxpayer funds on migrants. And so I think people are waking up and realizing that they want to be in a state with low taxes, a state that spends tax dollars responsibly. And therefore, many Americans are moving to Texas and Florida, very popular states, Texas and Florida. That's where a lot of people are moving. And let me talk about California a little bit more. California, a beautiful state. The natural beauty of California has historically drawn a lot of people. Who doesn't want to be in a state that has beautiful beaches and mountains and valleys and forests and everything? God has bestowed upon California so much of natural beauty. And then people see the movies, they hear about the movie stars living in California. And there's so much of glamour. And naturally, people have been attracted to California for many, many years. And that's natural. But things are changing, my friends. Things are changing. The government of California has not been responsible with taxpayer funds. Taxes are high, and the state living in California is becoming unaffordable. And Americans are realizing that there are better options out there. And as I mentioned, Texas and Florida. People are moving to Texas and Florida. Now, because of liberal politicians and their policies, many residents of New York and California are leaving and they are moving to other states. The government should never assume that there's a lack of mobility. Sometimes I feel that the government thinks that residents are not going to move and they will just accept high taxation and they will stay in the same place. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. People have freedom and they can choose. And many New York and California residents are choosing to leave these states and to find better places to live and to raise a family. My friends, a lot seems to have changed since the COVID outbreak. It seems that human beings are re-evaluating many things in life. And in some ways, I think that the COVID outbreak and all the challenges that Americans faced in the last few years are making people re-examine many of their choices in life. People are taking a fresh look at their priorities and asking themselves what really their priorities should be. The world has changed since the COVID outbreak, and it seems that the whole world was running forward like a train, and then all of a sudden everything came to a stop. And as we restart moving forward, it's not the same world. It's a different world we live in right now. People took a big pause and they're now re-evaluating everything. And Americans are making some bold decisions in their personal lives, including the decision to relocate if they feel necessary. And that's probably what we are seeing in the case of New York and California. People are finally saying no to high taxes and liberal policies, and they are finding better states, and they are moving. My friends, share with me your thoughts and comments. As always, I invite you to check out my website, tawsifanam.net. If you have any comments you want to share with me, you can go to my website, tawsifanam.net, and you can send me a message. You can read my blog posts. You can find more information about my published opinions. And you can also connect with me on social media. I want to thank you all for continuing to listen to my podcast, and I hope to be back again soon with a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.